Planning is a process which bridges the gap between what you are and what you want to be. Premises is the boundary, and you need to assume what are the possible things will happen or may not happen. You should always go with finding more alternative course of action. Derivative plans are the sub-plans. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Vidhyaashram from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to the new session, and here in this session we're going to learn about a beautiful topic called as planning process. What exactly this planning is? Planning is a process which bridges the gap between what you are and what you want to be. Now understand, this is what the process is all about. So to understand the process, you need to know that what are the steps involved in the process. The first step is always called setting objectives. So here what exactly we go is, we will establish the objectives. So that is called establishment of objectives. Secondly, we have establishment of planning premises. Now, premises are the boundaries. Now, within the boundary, you are supposed to play. You are not supposed to play outside the boundary. So, you should know where and what exactly you are supposed to do in that particular time. The next one is choice of alternative course of action. Now, what is this choice of alternative course of action? You need to understand the alternative course of action means what? Now, you are not supposed to stick with only one type of a plan. The reason is, you should always go with what is to be done in a beautiful manner. That means what? You should always go with finding more alternative course of action. So what is the advantage of it? The advantage is very, very simple. You will get the best course of action. Now here what happens is, you will start analyzing it, you will examine it, you will summarize it, then you will understand that these are the, say, positive one or the negative one. You will understand the boon and the bane. Only then you will able to decide. See, the chapter is all about planning and decision making. When you have more choices, what happens is, decision making is, though it is difficult, but what happens is, if you come to a conclusion, you will get the best course of action. The next one is formulation of derivative plans. Now you will start counting which is the best course of action, and then you will go with a derivative plan. And later we have securing cooperation. Now understand here, the people who are working with you, and they should also know what exactly the plan is, and then the cooperation will be better. Here what happens is, you will have that oneness of working together, and that is what the manager responsibility is, that you should always see that you ensures cooperation. And the last one is follow-up action, or it is also called as appraisal of plans. Now that means what? You shouldn't actually leave the plan half done. You need to implement it. That's why you are supposed to have a follow-up action. So these are the process of planning, which I'll be explaining it to you today. And what is that you should do is, please listen to it carefully. The reason is, this question and this topic is for 15 marks for your undergraduate, but let me just tell you, don't restrict yourself only for the marks. If you understand this properly, even if you join MBA and you take your first sem and the second sem, you will get the same question called planning process. And if you have taken marketing has specialization or HRM has specialization, again the same question going to come for 20 marks in your specialization subject as well. So that means what is that you should do? It's a very, very important topic. So you need to understand and then go for it. So the first one here is establishment of objectives. So the first thing, what is that you should do is, you need to establish the objective. The first one here is, planning requires a systematic approach. Whatever you do, students, you need to understand that without a proper approach or a systematic approach, you cannot find your destination. So what is that you should do is, planning is a military concept. That's why it goes with what? Systematic approach. Secondly, we have as planning starts with the setting of goals and objectives to be achieved. Now, without knowing what is that you should do, how is that you will able to understand what are the plans you are supposed to make? So that is the reason it is what? When it starts with the setting of goals and objectives. Thirdly is objectives provides a rationale for undertaking various activities as well as indicate directions of efforts. Once you start planning, what happens here is the planning is done by the top level. When the top level thinks about planning, what is that they'll feel is they'll go with the rational undertaking views, that is what people need to do, and they'll give you a direction of efforts. Moreover, objective focus the attention of managers on the end result to be achieved. So what happens here is the manager who are in the middle level, they'll get this planning from the top level, so they'll understand what is that they should do, their role is what is that they are supposed to do. So types of plan you have studied, and that operational plan is there, right? That operational plan you are supposed to just think about it. If the setting of objective is not done, how the operational plan will be executed. So that is how it is helpful. The second one is establishment of planning premises. Now, planning premises are the assumptions about the lively shape of events in future. So premises, like you will assume that these are the things can happen. So you will go with what? So many predictions in that kind of a small boundary. And the next one is they serve as a basis of planning. They'll serve as a basis of planning. Now, what exactly you can do? Can it be feasible or it cannot be feasible? So all these things you will see to it that boundary what you are going through, you need to assume those boundaries, and then you are supposed to play your role. Next is establishment of planning premises, in the sense is concerned with determining whether one tends to deviate from the actual plan and causes such deviation. So the deviation you are supposed to always summarize and then see that what are the best course of possibilities you can actually go. And the lastly we have is it is to find out what obstacles are there in the way of business during the course of operation. You should always go with something like prediction. Now, when you predict, what is that you should do? Understand, predict and prepare. So these things are the main thing. Prepare. One is prepare. Now understand, here what happens is when you predict, please predict for the best. But when you prepare, you need to prepare for the worst. So only when you go with these kind of assumptions, then it is whatever you will plan, you will have a weightage, as well as you will be prepared for those uncertainties and risks. That's why you need to go with establishment of planning premises. So premises is the boundary, and you need to assume what are the possible things will happen or may not happen. Next we have is choice of alternative course of action. Now I have given you three of the things, alternative course of action. So I'll give you an example here. Now you need to travel from Mysore to Bangalore. So what is that you're gonna do? Alternative course of action. Now the objective is done, you are supposed to travel to Bangalore. You can go with any premises assumption saying that rain may happen, rain may not happen, sunny day, or whatever it is, the premises you are supposed to go. Now you'll go with choice of alternative course of action. Now you can go by bus, that is you can use public transportation, or you can go with private car, that is your own vehicle you can take and you can go, or you can go with by train or aeroplane. So what exactly it is, all these things are the alternate course of action. Now what happens is you will summarize everything, and then you will get to know what is my budget, what time should I be there. So all these are the factors. So these things what you go with, that is alternate course of action. This is what is the best thing which you are supposed to do. Only then you will come across which is the best course of action, and then you will go for it. So when forecasts are available and premises are established, a number of alternative course of action can be considered. Next is for the purpose, each and every alternative will be evaluated by weighing its pros and cons in the light of resources available and requirement of the organization. The same way, Mysore to Bangalore, if you want to travel, what really happens is what is the distance, what time you are supposed to reach, whether it is very immediate, urgent. Now what is that you are supposed to do? All these things you will get to know the pros and cons of the public transportation. Now public transportation in the sense there are so many stops and you are supposed to wait for people to just board and then they'll come. Now whether it is a non-stop express or it is like it will go and take its own time, All these things you are supposed to consider. Only then you will understand that which is the best course of action, and then you will take it. Next is the merits, demerits, as well as consequences. What is it? Consequences of each alternative must be examined. Now, if we go with say a flight we're gonna take and then we'll go to Bangalore. From then, which is the place you are supposed to go, everything you are supposed to calculate, and then whatever you feel is the best course of action, that thing you are supposed to take, and that is what you are supposed to go with follow-up action. So this is what we call it as choice of alternative course of action. Next we have is formulation of derivative plan. Now what exactly derivative plan is? Derivative plans are the sub-plans. Please understand, this is a 1 mark question. What is derivative plan? You will get a MCQ question in your competitive exams. This is not in the MYSURU University examination pattern, but it's a 1 mark question. What is derivative plan? If you go for any examination, you will definitely get this one question, which is very, very compulsory. Are the sub-plans or secondary plans which helps in achievement of main plan? To achieve a main plan, you will have so many other derivative plans. Secondary plans will flow from the basic plan. These are meant to support and expedite. Now, when you reach that derivative plan, what happens is the secondary plan, whichever has been achieved, that will make sure that you will be achieving the main plan as well if you go with the same thing. And here what happens is these detailed plans include policies. So what are the derivative plans they have? They have what? Policies, procedures, rule, programs, budgets, and schedules. Now here what happens is you will have everything so that you can achieve the main goal, which is again done by the top level management. See, all plans are done by whom? The top level management. Next we have is securing cooperation. Now this is a very, very important topic, that is cooperation. Without cooperation, you cannot do anything, students. That's the reason it's a role of all the managers saying that they need to have a team, and then they need to make sure that the team has a cooperation. There should be no discord. That is the main thing which the manager should actually go with. After the plans have been determined, it is necessary, rather advisable, to take subordinates or those who have to implement these plans into confidence. You should always take that confidence, or else what happens is we don't know what really gonna happen if there is no cooperation. Any mistake can happen, and that mistake can make a big blunder. See, example, I'll give you the cricket, India and Australia, whatever they're playing, there is no cooperation in the team is what we can sense. That is the reason 36 for 9 is what the worst figures in the test cricket we have seen so far. So what exactly it is? The cooperation, lack of cooperation. Now why the thing is that they need to just come up and they need to have a very good discussion, and then they are supposed to get it into a confidence. But let's pray for a good one. Let's go with the next one. The next one is follow up and appraisal of plan. This is the last step in planning process. The thing is, after choosing the particular course of action, it is to put into action. Now, we decided whether it is like we're going to take a public transportation, train, a bus, or even the private one. Now, what exactly we decided? Now we have seen the pros, cons, everything. Now we have wasted our time as well as we have saved our time. Now what happens is we need to take that course of action, or else whatever we did, it's all loss. After the selected plan is implemented, it is important to appraisal and the effectiveness. This is done on the basis of feedback or information received from departments or person concerned. Now after that, you have implemented, everything is done. Now is that your time to analyze that what you have taken, was it right? Was it good? You need to take always a feedback about it. And the last one is, this enables the management to correct deviations or modify the plan, because once we have taken a plan and we have done it, what happens is, if it is the best course of action, we're going to continue the next day also. But if you feel that the information what you have got, the feedback what you have got, it says that the plan which we have taken is not so effective, then what happens is, it is always a learning. So here what exactly it is, students, you are supposed to know All plans will not lead to success. That is a demerit of planning. The same way, we are supposed to always go for an experiment. So these are the steps in planning process. Hope you have understood it. If you have not, please watch the session once again. If again you feel that there is a problem, you can just give me a call. I'll always be there to answer all the doubts. Thank you so much. I'll see you when I see you.